Hey guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today we're going to be making a trifold card using this fun new die set from Scrappy Tails. This is part of the Christmas collection. And this die set is called the Christmas House Trifold Metal Craft Die. So it is a big set. It's actually two. Yeah, you got two packages. I've already got them on my magnets. So this is everything that you, well, pretty much everything you get. Anyway, my thought was I'm going to start off with the base to make the trifold. So I've cut that out of some regular weight cardstock. So it is cardstock, but this is the stuff I usually use for like embellishments and things like that that I'm going to add. But then I'm taking this piece and I'm doing the tall ones out of heavyweight cardstock. That's because these are going to be my panels that fold over. Now, what I wanted to do is I want to do the fireplace too. So we're going to be playing with the fireplace die that is right over here. But I'm wanting to have an aperture go through. So you're going to be able to see through it. To do that, this die here, which is for our fireplace, does not cut through. It cuts all of the nice lines for your fireplace brick. So that's going to be pretty and everything. And then we've got this separate one that makes for the mouth of the fireplace. And that's what I'm going to be using to cut through. I've already done one. And because I cut this out, I've got the little piece to be able to go on and everything. And I didn't cut it all the way down, so I had to trim that off with my scissors. Now for the second side, I want the same thing. I want this to be, they're going to fold over and overlap at that fireplace, and we're going to be able to see all the way through to the back. So I need to put this in place, lining everything up, and then I'm going to tape that one down to the bottom piece of cardstock, holding it in place. And pulling this one out so that now it's going to die cut right there, right where I did it on the first one. So let's go ahead and do that. And since I'm only cutting that little place, I don't actually need to run this all the way through. I'm just going to do that one little piece of the die. And now we've got this one. And when I layer them over the top of each other, it lines up perfect. Okay, so now I need to cut out a few of these. I decided to give each of these some wallpaper. So this is some real thin pattern paper that I've had in my stash for a while. Don't know if you can get it again. I think I got this one. It's actually Die Cuts with a View, all about Christmas stack. But it's a real thin paper, so it's not going to add a lot of bulk to my cards. And I've done front and back, and then one for in the center. So I'm making multiples of everything. I've cut out 5 different fireplaces so I can have them on the front and the back. And so I'm still basically just figuring out what I want, where I want it, and assembling. This isn't my typical way of constructing a card. You guys have seen me. I'm pretty much seat in my pants, but I had an idea in my head. And as that happens, I kind of have to build it, right? So for the fire, I'm wanting to have it show through on everything. So I am actually going to be cutting some vellum. So that is what we're going to start off with that. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and do some coloring on some vellum. I may put a piece of acetate in there to have everything hold on to each other. I haven't 100% decided on that one yet because there's no bottom to hold all my pieces onto. So anyway, we're going to use some alcohol markers to color up the vellum, and then I can start cutting some pieces out. So I'm going to start with the center panel. And I want it to look pretty on the back side too, so I'm going to actually put the curved edges towards the back and cover it with my wallpaper for the front. And because this is a thin cardstock, I'm going to use a tape runner instead of the liquid glue. Liquid glue would probably be okay, but I think it would probably wind up being a bit bumpy. It wouldn't be as smooth as I would like. I'm going to try using my scoreboard to help me line it up right. Okay, so that worked much better. It's a little bit off at the top, but not so much that anybody's really going to notice it. Okay, so now I'm going to put my fireplace, but I think I want to color the back in here a darker color, so I'm just going to use one of my markers. And let's just go with a gray. Thinking added onto the red cardstock should add that kind of sooty look in the background. Okay, I think that's going to look good, so I'll go ahead and glue the edge around for my fireplace. Don't know what this thing is called, but... Okay, so as I was going through all of the dies, I discovered we've got a little grate, or the little, this could be like all the ashes and everything that is down at the bottom. So I'm going to put that down at the very bottom here, and then I've got a little piece of wood, and then we're going to also add in some of our flames. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead and add that to the wallpaper. There we go. So I still have a little bit more work to do on that, so let me go ahead and start assembling. So that is basically the idea behind the other panels too. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting those together after I do a little bit of marker on this last bow. So I mentioned acetate, and I think that's going to be the best way for me to keep all of the flames and all to be able to be seen and still be adhered well down. So that is what I'm going to use. So just cutting a couple pieces. I'm going to cut a couple of pieces of acetate, one for each of those apertures. Okay, and I'm going to adhere this down with some double-sided adhesive. Because it's plastic, I want to make sure it stays in place. And just lining it up with the bottom of this cardstock piece. Okay, now I can add my wallpaper right over the top. And we'll be able to adhere everything else onto that piece of acetate. I think that's going to work well. Almost forgot, I need to cut holes in here. So we're going to line it up behind one of the pieces that has that aperture. I also noticed that this little guy is not the same on both sides. So it's a little bit off, so I am going to do my best to cover some of that as I'm building. Okay, so we need, well, let's line this up over the existing, because that's what we're going to be doing, right? We're going to be layering this up and hopefully seeing everything that is on the inside. And then I'll layer this over the top. And then I can add my die right in the slot there. And I'm going to tape it down. Actually, I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to use a pencil. I'm not going to cut this out using the die. I'm going to fussy cut this out right around where I've got that die. Because this cuts out on both sides, and I kind of need some place to have my trim to attach to. There we go. So that's what I'm going to do with each of my fireplaces. There was something I forgot to do. I did not add this piece on yet. So this is actually how we're going to connect all of our pieces. So think what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to put another piece of paper on the back of it. That's our center. But for these other guys, I've already got this one already covered on both sides. So luckily, remember I used dot liner. That's going to make it easier for me to be able to remove that. Now for this one, we've also got these little score lines. I don't know if you guys can see them. My lighting in here. Recording at a time of day I don't normally, but there are some score lines there. So I am going to fold on those. Okay, and this is basically what makes it so that we can turn this into a trifold. Okay, so one of them is going to line up right there, and the other one is going to have this tucked in. Okay, so let me go ahead and fold on the other side. And do the same thing. So I'm just right now getting this ready. So now I'm going to glue the centerpiece to the back of my main center panel. Lining it up at the bottom. And because of the amount of bulk I have on there, it actually wound up being a little bit wider than what those scores are for. That's okay. Scores are basically a guide, right? Okay, so now I need to take one of these. This one's going to go over the top and pull this back. Yeah, I didn't really want to have to do that. Okay, I think I've got it off enough to be able to do this. And I'm going to put some liquid glue on both sides. This will give me some wiggle room even working with that other adhesive, and let me slide it in. So y'all are getting to see how I messed up and how not to do this. Okay, so I'm sliding it in and then lining up flat, hopefully on the bottom, and folding that over. Trying to make sure everything lines up straight at the bottom. That's what counts. Okay, and then pressing it back into place. Okay, so now we have our first side over. And it does pop up a little bit. It's kind of a little bit of a pop-up. That gives you a little bit of room for dimension in there. So that is going to be perfect. So now I need to do the same thing with the other side. I'm going to assemble it. I'm going to basically design. Everything's going to have the same pretty designs on there. And then I can decide what else do I want to add. Okay, so I did one side and got the acetate in. So now I'm going to go ahead and glue this in place onto that, that piece there. And should come up right over the top of this one. So that's how I'm going to try to line it up. Okay. And make sure everything is nice and flat. So I'm just adhering it on one side, and then I can, on this other side, I'll be able to put my last piece of wallpaper. Okay, so you can tell now that it's going to be able to fold flat, and that is exactly what I wanted to do. Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So now I'm going to start going ahead and adhering this one down. And I'm going to put some glue here to make sure that that piece, the fold piece, stays in place. And then I'm going to just use my dot liner for the rest. Okay, and I am going to say that that is going to be good enough. And that is kind of how that's going to work. We can still see all the way through, but I do have to finish up this last bit and then do whatever additional pieces that I want to do for decor. And now I can decide, do I want to add Yes, I have to add more. You don't have to, but there are stockings and lots of other fun things in this set. But isn't that just lovely? I love the way this kind of looks like a house. Yeah, I like it. Anyway, I'm going to add a few more things to finish up this card. And, of course, we have to add a sentiment. So to cover the back, which is what I was saying before, I cut another piece of white cardstock. This is heavyweight cardstock to go across the back. And that's going to hide where we have that piece that joins everything together to create the trifold. Okay, and it gives us another place to add a sentiment if we'd like. And I cut out, I cut out a bunch of stuff. This is kind of, in my mind, this is kind of like when you are decorating for Christmas. You basically go until you think it looks right or you get tired. So, I have got ribbons, I have got stockings, I have got some more greenery from another one of her lovely sets in this Christmas collection, and I'm going to add a bunch of the stuff to each of the little scenes. I mean, the scenes are going to be mostly the same, but yeah, I wanted to decorate more because, I'm sorry, that looks a little bit plain, and you gotta have stockings, right? I don't really do garland across my mantle. I'd like to, but we don't. That would require cleaning everything off of it. But anyway, I don't do that in my house, but I'm going to do it on my card. And we're going to add a couple of little stockings to each of these as well. I also cut out from that other die set, from this one, I cut out some candles, so I've got a bunch of candles too. I just need to add the color on the end for the flames, and that's easy with a yellow or orange marker. I have this yellow one still out, so I'm just going to use it. And we're just going to add a little bit of color to the end, so now it has a little flame. Now, there are additional dies to be able to cut out all of the layers, so you could do that. I've got enough stuff going on this that I'm not going to do that. I am, though, going to tuck my candle back behind my garland. Because, of course, it's not quite dry. There we go. And let me get one of the tall ones and do the same thing with it. Add the flame. And tuck it back in behind the garland. And I'm going to continue and do that with all 5 fireplaces. There we go. Now, there is this die. I thought about making more die cutting a bunch of little baubles, but I think this is probably busy enough. You can, like I said, you can go as far as you want to with this. And I love this one. So I'm going to take a look at the whole thing, and I'm pulling out sentiments. Ooh, I already have some little balls. I might use them, I might not. I don't know. I haven't decided. So I'm pulling out some dies that I used in another card earlier in the month out of the same set. So I've got my sentiment here, and it's in green glitter and so pretty, and I'm trying to get all the extra stuff off of it because I just had it sitting over in a bag. So I've got a bunch of little red foil balls that I can add if I choose to. Haven't decided yet. I may, since I don't have to cut them out. Anyway, I want to add this somewhere. So let's go ahead and take a look at the card. And I've got a couple of other sentiments also that say, from our home to yours, and I think that would be perfect. So I've got one white on red and red on white. So I've got 2 of those. And I could also add this to the back. I think that's what I'm going to do with the big sentiment. I'm going to add it to the middle of the back. Still leaves plenty of room for you to write a personal message. And because this has got so much going on and so many layers and all the things, it's already a little bit thick. It's not too bad, but I've decided not to add foam to any of this. This card is all made with layering of cardstock. So may this magic of the season, just making sure it is straight. Is that straight? The fill your heart part is the part that doesn't look quite straight, although the may the magic of the season does. I'm going to reposition that a little bit, I think, just to be on the safe side. Okay, I'm going to say that that is straight enough. That looks pretty good on the back there. And then on the inside, we're going to do one of these. So which one do we want to go with? This one really pops. And they both do. I think I'm going to go with the white, though. Kind of pulls in the white backgrounds from the other wallpaper. And I'm going to call that done. So you can see the fire through that center, and when you open it up, it still continues. So it's a little aperture, but I think it does add a little extra. And to be honest, my idea was to do something similar to this, but make it a light up card, although that would have taken even longer. So I did a lot on this one, and we're getting close to Christmas, so I decided not to go with the whole light thing. But that is an idea for the next time that I use this, and I'm sure I will use it again for next Christmas. So you guys have a wonderful day. Check out this video over here if you'd like to see another video where I'm using Scrappy Tails products, and I will catch you in the next video, guys. Bye, guys.